Hey guys, welcome back. Here's part 2 of this, I guess you can call it kind of a scraper rebuild. So now this is going to be the line boring of these 3 bores. Part 1 showed replacing this top cap, doing all the gussets inside, and then a bunch of extra work on the can of the scraper at my customer's yard. We brought this over here to sandblast it and paint it. So on the line boring, we use these spacers to line up this piece. When we welded it on, we're going to use those to line the bar up. So let's get this bar dialed in, and we will have to weld that front hole up, and then the back holes here, it's just cutting, no welding. We got the bar dialed in. Just wanted to show you that we are still in alignment. So we're gonna put our bearings on here. I'll get these all dialed in, and then yeah. All right, so we got the Climax system all set up here. We're using an 8-foot 2 1/4 bar, and what is that? 1, 2, 3 cutters all at one time. Yes, I'm gonna cut 3 holes at once. Let's see what happens. All right, so we got the welder going up on this front bore. I'm thinking it's probably gonna need 2 passes, maybe 3, depending on how even the weld comes out. So, all right, let's get it. All right, we got our first pass in there. It was about 42 minutes of straight welding. I would say everything was cooperating on that one. Awesome. Well, let's get that wire wheeled and cleaned up a little bit and get the second one going. All right, so this came out really good. That's like 6 inches of straight weld. All right, round 2. All right, so we got that welding. We're able to do all of our rough cuts on this side, and this one will need one more cut and it will be done. This one needs 2 more cuts. So welding and cutting saved a little bit of time there. I mean, I got 42 minutes roughly of time where I could mess with this. So saved about an hour. All right, now we're gonna jump over there, get ready to turn that welder off. All right, we got finished cut both sides here. Those bores are done. We are on our rough cut on that. Just working our way through there slowly, getting all the high spots out. Then we'll start doing some measurements and work our way down to the final size. I don't have the bushing for that yet. And my rule is I will not make a final cut until I have the bushing in my hand. I've done that before, and I've had to redo bores, you know, just going off of CAT spec, and that's what the customer wanted to do, and we had to redo the bore. So have the pin and bushing in your hand before you cut it to spec. That's my rule. So we'll go pick that bushing up at lunch, and yeah, this thing will be done today. All right, we got our nice shiny CAT bushing. Now we can finish our cut. Looks pretty nice. All right, so we got our bearings off, cleaned up, and we got a crack here that we got to fix. We now have a nice big industrial sandblaster, so we blasted that area just to get all the paint out of there. And then Wes is gonna weld that up. I gotta modify a bracket that goes right here. So all line boring's done, a couple crack repairs, and then she'll be ready to blast. Then we gotta transfer over a couple of those brackets that mount on this area here. Okay, so I'm trying to recreate this bracket. Basically, customer supplied this, but the holes are drilled out. So what I did was I put some nuts on a bolt, turn them down in the lathe so that they're tight. So you kind of a hammer fit them in there. TIG welded the top, sanded them down. So now we're gonna cut out our piece that we need to space it up. We're using the Best Arc 80 amp machine. Previously I was using the 50 amp or 50 or 60, 50, yeah, 55 amp I think. But now we have an 80. So let's see how the 80 handles this 3/4 inch plate. Well, I haven't TIG welded in a while, so we'll TIG weld that, see how it comes out. We're gonna be using a Miller Dynasty 400. All right, we got that welded. Not the prettiest TIG weld. Material was still pretty dirty, so we'll hand this over to Wes and get it welded on. The Best Arc 80 does pretty good. It's definitely more powerful than the 50 that I tested. All right, so we got this frame out here. We're starting to blast on it. We got all these brackets welded on here. So we'll get this thing blasted and see what she looks like. One of the customer's employees is gonna come paint it. So we're just trying to get it all ready for him. We are using a something called Clean Blast, which I believe is a copper slag, is what the guy said. Here you can see Jacob getting after it with a sandblaster. I think it's a good investment, and it's really loud. Okay, so we're working on this front cushion hitch. It's got a few cracks and some bent gussets and things. Notice this hole is, well, yeah, she's pretty wore out. But I have replaced these in the past, and I was smart at that time and had a whole bunch of those brackets laser cut. So at least we don't have to worry about making the brackets. Just cut them off, weld them on. Okay, so we have a jig that we use to replace those. Show you how I set this up. Basically, just kind of locks everything in place. So you have a 3/4 inch bolt that holds it all together. Then there's a sleeve in there because you have to be able to get all this out with it in there, and it's kind of relatively tight in there. So the sleeve, which is shorter than the pin, slides out, and then you have your inside spacer. So that's how I do that, and then you just tighten it down on like the table where it's flat, and everything should be in line. Yes, I'm wearing shorts and flip-flops. Three-quarter plate, not too bad. That piece he's cutting is gonna go right here. All right, so we're working on this push block. We got this, Wes got that center ears replaced. Pin fits, perfect. Check out his gusset on this side. Looks good. A little bit more sandblasting to do on it. A little bit of cleanup work before we paint it. Cool. Keep going. So, out here attempting to paint this, and I don't know, monsoon or whatever you want to call it decides to roll through. It's probably like 102 or something. You can see the lightning. We were going to paint some more stuff, but now it's all wet. But I think the paint had just enough time to hopefully dry, just enough where it's not gonna. And if you're wondering about the paint on the tires, it's getting brand new tires. So that's why there's paint on the tires. But it looks good. Looks really good. We were gonna paint the push block, but now we're gonna have to reblast it because it's already rusted. And we're gonna paint that another day. All right, so there's the update on this. We're gonna wait to paint this wheel till they take it back to the shop and get it resealed. That way there's no oil coming out, and then we'll get it prepped and painted there. But this all looks pretty good. All right, storm is cleared. Paint looks good. There's a little bit of dust in it, but it's to be expected. Looks good. They got 3 coats on it, so should be good there. We'll just buff out those bores before they take it back and be good to go. All right, so that's gonna be it for part 1, or I'm sorry, that will be it for part 2. Got the line boring done, got some blasting, some painting. Stay tuned for part 3. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one.